I had an interesting conversation this morning with someone who is thinking about starting their exploration into philosophy. And they asked me who they should read and what they should do and so on and so forth. And it became quite apparent to me that the part that they were most focused on was the reading of the ideas of other philosophers, which, don't get me wrong, is incredibly important. But the most important part of philosophy is the frameworks of thought and the toolkits that come along with those great works. So, if you read the works of Hegel, for instance, I wouldn't recommend that as an introduction. By the way, Hegel's quite difficult to get into, to say the least. But if you were to read Hegel, on the one hand, you have all of Hegel's thoughts and ideas and so on and so forth, which are incredibly important, incredibly interesting, and super useful. However, the most important part of that is the tools that Hegel provides you through the great works of philosophy that he produced. So, one of those an example of one of those sort of tool sets that Hegel provides you through these texts is the dialectic. Now, I'm not going to go through that right now. I've done plenty of other videos about that. But Hegel had his ideas, but he also had his tools. And that's what you need to look out for when you're reading philosophy. You need to be able to identify what's the idea and what's the tools. And a lot of the time, the tools are not explicitly laid out. You have to figure it out from the ideas, and that's fine. Luckily, you do have some people like Hegel, for instance, who actually explicitly sort of lays it out, and it was further it was added to by later philosophers like Karl Marx and so on. So when you read these great works from these philosophers, you got to figure out what the ideas are, but you also have to figure out the framework of thought, the toolkit that the philosopher is using in order to draw that conclusion. And that's the important bit, because that's the bit that is useful. That's the bit you can apply to your own life. And that's the bit that will enable you to fully understand the position of that philosopher and to articulate your own position.